The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 per month on your sports gambling transactions when you go to edgeboost.bet. Promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Rhythm is giving away a $250 future and throwing a March Madness party. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party for details. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice, no the guys. Me, really raw, villain raw, Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. The Knicks and the Lakers didn't come through for me yesterday, but we did cash a nice, juicy 7X underdog lineup, courtesy of Scott Studio, Reichel, and myself. Shout out to James Harden catching a double-double. Shout out to Cam Thomas, higher 18.5 points. And shout out to the birthday boy, Obi Toppin, higher 8.5 points there. He almost got to 15. That would have been a nice, juicy plus money cash on the birthday. If you played 12 plus or something like that at other books, you got a nice little juicy payout as well. All right. Guy Luis is in the chat. Chat's booming today. Got Adam in there. Got JT back on daddy duty. We got Luis talking about how he ended up betting the Suns at plus 10.5 and 15-1. What a mad man you are, Luis. A mad man. Got the nerd Lonte Smith here with me today. Lonte, what's going on?
Not much, man. Ready to talk some hoops.
Yep. Talk some hoops. We shall. A lot happening in the NBA last night in terms of it felt like me and Scott were on the right side of a bunch of things, and a couple other things we were wrong about. We were right in the fact that we laid the big chalk, Cavs, Timberwolves, very, very big. I think the funniest part of the night was the fact that Scott had a trend that the Nets never beat the Spurs in San Antonio because Scott is a Nets fan and he's watched the Nets never beat the Spurs in San Antonio over the course of his entire life. And it actually started pretty good for the Nets until it wasn't. The Spurs kind of went over and took over that game, got the dub. Scott exercised some demons watching the Nets lose yet another game in San Antonio. At first, I thought this was a little bit skewed to the fact that San Antonio used to be, like a premier spot to go to. But no, the Nets really just have piss poor luck in San Antonio. All right. Enough of that, though, Lonte. We're going to get to the games talking about on the slate here. But first, got to gear everybody up for March with March Madness. 20% off the entire SGPN store. Get in now before the promo code is done. That is store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Go get you some NBA Gambling Podcast gear. Get some TCE gear with March coming around. First half undershirt. All of that over there. It's actually a windbreaker that I think is really, really nice in the merch store. Been eyeing it. I'm going to have to get it for myself. Go over there. Promo code MADNESS for 20% off the SGPN store. That is promo code MADNESS. Store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com, because I feel like some people don't know the actual link. Store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. All right. Let's get into it. We've got 8 games. Wow. 8 games on the slate here. Let's kick things off. 7 p.m. on the East Coast. We got the Washington Wizards welcoming the Utah Jazz to town. Wizards laying 5 in this spot. 230.5 is the total. Injury report here we've got for the Utah Jazz. By the way, Tony Brothers on the call for this game. We've got Jayden Springer, who is questionable with a back injury. We've got Jordan Clarkson out, John Collins out, Walker Kessler out, Lauri Markkanen out, Colin Sexton out. Oh, that's why the Wizards are laying 5. Okay. Then we got Keyshawn George, who is questionable on the Wizards side. Rashawn Holmes, who is questionable with the knee injury on the Wizards side. No Brogdon, no Jordan Poole in this game either. Yikes. All right, Lonte, it's a lot going on in the injury report here. Before I ask you any thoughts, I have to start with the message of the day. Because this is the purest of pure toilet bowl spots. Here we are after the All-Star break, and these two teams have 26 combined wins. Lonte, what are we doing here?
Not watching, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, this is a tough game. I think it's pretty much who's going to tank the hardest. I think Utah's doing a better job, but I mean they're coming off a 9-game homestand, just their first road game since February the 10th. They've allowed 125 plus in back-to-back games. 8 of the last 10 have went over, so I'm going towards the over rather than taking a side. They turn the ball over a ton. Washington's offense has been a little bit better with Middleton and Smart in the lineup, despite Poole missing the last 2 games. But it's going to be dictated on pace wise. So I think Washington, they've held their opponents to 106 or fewer in 3 of the last 5, and they're also under in 4 of the last 5. But again, I think styles dictate fights, and I think both of these teams will be able to score. Filipowski's been playing well. He's averaging 16 and 11 over his last 3 games. Small sample size, but he's been looking better in that lineup. But I think over with 2 bad teams, a lot of up and down as far as pace wise. So I would go over if anything, but nothing too strong in this matchup for me.
Yeah, that's crazy that you go under. I don't trust either one of these two teams to score right now, especially not this look of the Jazz with everybody out. I mean, they are really really struggling to score the basketball consistently, and this Washington defense actually has been rather okay. Like they haven't been fine. In fact, since the All Star break, they are 6th in defensive rating, 4th in opponents' points per game, 5th in opponents' estimated field goal percentage allowed, effective field goal percentage. I'm sorry, effective field goal percentage. And on the other side of the ball, they can't score. Washington can't score. I don't trust the Jazz to score. I think that despite the Jazz playing bad defense, the Wizards have just shown over the past couple of games playing other bad teams that they just can't find ways to consistently score the basketball here. Uh, Maybe I trust the Wizards to put something up on the Jazz horrible defense than I do the Jazz on the Wizards now. So maybe a Jazz team total under, but no way I can lay points in a toilet bowl here. So Jazz +5 and give me the under. I see you. I hear your points for the over. I think that both of these two teams are terribly inefficient right now. Washington's a lot better on the defense side of the ball. Yeah, it might be a lot of pace here, but it's a lot of pace with a lot of misses. So I like rebounds and I like under in this game. Yeah, and that's about it here for me. Anything else on this one before we keep it trucking?
Oh no,
All
not at
right,
all.
yeah, very, very quickly moving on from that game. We've got the Minnesota Timberwolves on the road going to play the Charlotte Hornets. Minnesota's laying 9, 223.5 is the total. Injury report, and Rudy Gobert did not play yesterday against Philly, where Minnesota just completely steamrolled him, as we talked about. So we'll see if he's able to go here today. He's got a questionable tag. Taj Gibson is probable on the sick report. We've got Nurk, who is probable, low back tightness. Josh Okogie's out. Yeah, Charlotte's been bad. Charlotte's been bad. Minnesota's not nothing to trust, but I mean, they got it done on the first leg of a back to back yesterday. What are you doing here laying 9 on the road?
Yeah, I would lay it here with Minnesota. Just a bad matchup for Charlotte, which is much like any other team in the NBA. Naz Reid had a really good game. He's been playing well since Gobert's been out. I think that lineup with him at the 5 is a little bit more effective. Now defensively, probably a little bit more work. So, but still, man, I like the thing that I like most here. I like the under, and I also like the Charlotte team total under 106.5. If you look at Charlotte, 7 losses in a row, all have been by a total of 183 points. If you divide that, that's an average of 26 points per game that they're losing by. So 6 of those were by 13 plus. If you look at their last 30 games over a bigger sample size, they've scored over 105 in just 11 games. They've had 100 or less in 10 of those 30 games. So I don't think they'll be able to score here. Minnesota, obviously defensively, one of the better teams in the NBA. I know they're off a back-to-back, which could be – this is why I'm liking the under as well. Maybe the offense from Minnesota does not come out like firing right away. So I mean, Charlotte's been an under team at home. 23 of the 31 games at home have went under. I mean, they scored 93 in a November meeting, and that was when they were fully healthy with Grant Williams, um, Brandon Miller, and a lot of those guys. So I think right now, I think they struggle to get to 100. So I like the team total under 106.5. I also like the full game under, and I would lay the 9 with Minnesota.
So I can get behind. Yeah, I can get behind Charlotte team total. There's not good under trends in terms of the Timberwolves on the second leg of a back to back. Opponents' team totals are 8-3 to the over, and so teams have been able to score the ball. So that's the reason why I probably won't get to the window on that, because Minnesota just history off of, and they've had one back to back already on this side of the All-Star break, and the opponent's team total went over. So I probably won't get there on that, but trusting Minnesota 2 days in a row, ugh, yikes. I understand how bad Charlotte is, but Minnesota's a team that just cannot be trusted. I don't know if I would get there with a 9 either. I would probably like a Minnesota 110, because I could see this being the game that Charlotte just kind of hangs around. Charlotte just scores the basketball, pushes the ball with pace, keeps Minnesota on their toes, and Minnesota just has a letdown after absolutely destroying the 76ers the night before. Let's see what they are against the spread on the back of back, 6-5. So yeah, nothing really there. Give me Charlotte plus the 9. I don't want to trust Minnesota 2 days in a row. They handled business yesterday, but I'm not all the way sold on them. And this Charlotte at some point has to have a get up spot. I wouldn't be surprised if it's against a Minnesota team. Nothing strong there. A couple of ugly games start the slate here, but I promise you it gets a lot better, and we'll talk about that in the next game of the slate. But first, I got to talk to you about Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for sports bettors. You absolutely want to lock in with Edge Boost here. Avoid the hassle of having your card denied, or even just having your information over there with the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstakes site, racetrack, casino, all of that. You can earn up to you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. And you know your money's safe because it's FDIC insured and no credit checks, completely free. So we'll take all that information and go sign up today. Promo code SGPN so you get better cashback rewards, instant tier 2 status. Use my Edge Boost rewards on. I think I'm going to get down on Edge Boost on this next game and just fade one of my favorite teams to fade. It feels like it's that time of year again. So, edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by MyBookie.ag, your place to bet every sport, plus props. And you can play live dealer casino, table games, all of that over there at MyBookie.ag. Accept a ton of customers from different locations. So go check and see if your location is supported today. Easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using cryptocurrency. Head over to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Oh, wow. I didn't have the MyBookie graphic up. That was embarrassing. Yeah, there goes MyBookie. All right. Let's get into it. We got, Keyshawn George versus Keontae George. The winner is the king of the Georges. But I heard Curious George also has something to say in that argument. So there might be might get some Paul George in that action too. Wow, I didn't realize the amount of people that have George as their last name. Who is the best George? Lonte, who's the best George?
I can tell you right now, it's not Paul George.
No, it's clearly not Paul George.
Um,
How many other people have George as a last name? Who is the best George out there? Let me see. I will accept. No. I'm not accepting the people that go out there and say Georgia. No, I'm not accepting that. Who else? Let me make sure I'm not missing anybody. Who else got the last name George that deserves to be in this?
there you go. Yeah, Marquis said Eddie George. Oh, yeah, I like that one.
Oh yeah, Eddie George. That's a good one. Oh
It's a
man.
great one.
Let me see. Who else? I think that's. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody big. I feel like there's a George. There's a George that I'm just not thinking about. Okay, we're gonna leave that at that. But wow, I'm looking at a list, and I don't know who these other Georges are, but they got Paul George all the way down at 13. Jesus Christ. I may not know who these other Georges are, but Paul George all the way down there at 13. Eddie George is second, by the way. In this list of Georges, Eddie George is second. The first George that they have is Henry George. Birth date September 2nd, 1839. Am I supposed to know what Henry is this a history thing? Am I supposed to know what Henry George did? I don't know. Wow. Interesting. Paul George, 13th best George, according to I deleted the website. Sorry. I was about to quote the website. All right, back to the actual picks. We've got the Portland Trailblazers on the road going to play the Boston Celtics. Celtics laying 9.5, 224.5 is the total. Injury report here, and we've got. Oh my gosh, look at this. Okay. Sorry, guys, about to take a second. We got Grant, who is questionable with the knee injury. We've got Aiton, who's out. Time Lord, Rob Will, who is out for this return to Boston. We've got Peyton Pritchard, who is probable. White is probable. Jaylen Brown is questionable on the sick report. Jason Tatum is questionable with a shoulder. Holiday is doubtful. And we've got Kristaps Porzingis, who I believe is doubtful on the sick. Yep, doubtful on the sick report. All right. Sick report's been going crazy, man. This is really ridiculous at this point. Lonte, tell me why you're taking Boston here.
Well, I think it's a bad matchup for Portland, but I just need both of the Jays to play. As long as both of the Jays play, I'll be on Boston.
All right. Well, if I told you one of the Jays is not playing,
I wouldn't bet the game at all. Well, I might still take Boston. It just depends on what the number goes to. But it's been coming down. I mean, I think it opened 11. It's down. It was 10.5 like a few hours ago. Now it's down to 9.5. So I think that's trending towards, like you said, one of them not playing. But yeah, I probably would still take Boston. I mean, Portland's been really good. 6 straight road game though. They've covered 4 straight. Not a good strength of schedule though. And the issue with Portland is I like them better as a dog or a short favorite, like a big dog or a short favorite.
they are a big dog.
I mean, yeah. I guess.
What you mean? They are a big dog.
Right.
This is 9.5 points.
Yeah, you're right. I would rather have them in a different spot than Boston. But like whenever they perform, they don't perform well against the top teams in the NBA. Basically, is what I'm saying. If you just look at their schedule and who they played in the last 4 games during their win streak, during their cover streak, hasn't been good. And when they play against teams like Denver, the Lakers, Minnesota, Houston, the Clippers back then, I mean they got trounced by all of those teams, except for the Lakers. The Lakers they won, they lost by 8. But if I can get both of the Jays healthy and playing, I'll be on Boston. I mean they got 3 days to get these guys back healthy. I would take Boston, but right now I just I'll kind of wait and see because I want to see if both of those guys play.
All right. I will go ahead and let you know that I am definitely taking Portland here. Portland's been really good. I think that it is very ironic for you to mention how they have not played well against good teams, and then they just took the Cavaliers, who are the best team in the league, to death, and the Cavs had to really fight back and get back in that one. Boston Celtics win laying 10 or more, 12, 19, and 1 ATS this season. If you want to be one of those technical folks and be like, oh, well, they're laying 9.5. Well, as a favorite of 7 and 10, 8 and 8 this season, they have not been good when they've been laying a really, really big number at all this season. We've seen them lose these games outright at times. The first leg of a back-to-back, they are 4 and 5 ATS this season. We've got the Portland Trailblazers, who have been really, really solid defensively. And when they haven't been solid defensively, they've been able to score the basketball and been able to keep up. They are incredibly fast, play really, really fast in pace. We'll see if the Celtics try to slow them down. There's two different contrary styles here. The Trailblazers, since the All-Star break, have the second fastest pace. The Celtics have the 29th. So they're all the way down there in terms of pace. The fouls is going to be the thing. They got to really, really attempt not to foul here against this Boston Celtics team. But Celtics haven't been really good at getting to the line at all recently anyways. 29th in free throw rate since the All-Star break. Yeah, I'm back in the same as 5-2 ATS after the All-Star break. This is a different Portland team, and they look like they're trying to make up some ground. I think they keep this game close. If they lose a close one. Give me Portland plus the 9.5 here. I think they get it done. I like the under. Portland's been pretty good defensively, and I do think the pace actually is going to move towards Boston's side, so a little bit slower of a game here. So I like under in there. Anything else you like, Lonte?
No, I don't. Nope, I'm good.
All right. Next game up, we've got the Cleveland Cavaliers, aforementioned Cleveland Cavaliers, at home welcoming the Miami Heat to town. The Cavs laying 11.5 against the Miami Heat. 222.5 is total injury report, and we've got for the Miami Heat. Man, I would just love an injury report where I could just say, oh yeah, one name, two name, and let's go on. Okay, Tyler Hero is questionable with a head cold. What? Dog, it doesn't even say illness. It says head cold. All right, man. We've got Hamiakis Jr. is out. I'm sorry. We got Jovic, who is out. We've got Ware, who is out. We've got Wiggins, who is out. And then on the Cavs side of the ball, Mobley he was out in the first leg of the back-to-back. I assume that he is more than likely probably going to play the second leg of the back-to-back. So here we go, laying 11.5 with a Cleveland Cavaliers team that did get the cover yesterday. But if you watch that game, that was really like at the end of the game, you were really, really sweating that Cavs number for the majority of the game. And so here they are, second leg of a back-to-back. What are you doing here with Cleveland Cavaliers laying double digits against the Miami Heat?
Yeah, and if you watch their last three games, Cleveland, they've had to fight back from double digits in all three of those games.
Yep.
So yeah, it would be Cleveland and nothing here for me. If you want to look at Miami, I would look early because of the kind of, I guess, lack of effort early on, lack of urgency early on. So maybe look at Miami first half, first quarter. But Miami's banged up, man. They were missing a ton of guys. Spoelstra was speaking on that in the presser about guys stepping up. Pelle Larsson has been one of those guys who's been playing pretty well. They've covered 4 straight, but all of those were at home. They're 12, 20, and 1 ATS on the road, whereas Cleveland's 20, 11, and 1 ATS at home. They've only got one loss since January 29th, and that was to Boston. I just think that Cleveland is just a superior team. 11.5 seems pretty big, but I would end up laying it before I do anything. Maybe if you want to look at the over the number on the over seems a little bit short for me as well. I think both teams might can get out and score. I have no problem with Cleveland being able to score, and maybe Miami's been pushing a little bit more pace since they've left, since they got rid of Jimmy. So I would go over as the stronger play, and I would lay 11.5 if I had to.
All right, you don't get Miami as a double-digit favorite a double-digit dog often. They actually have not been very good to that since 2021. 3-3 ATS, 2-5 straight up, and a lot of these are to the Celtics. The one that wasn't to the Celtics was to the Thunder, and they pushed that one. Wait, hold on. Let me filter this back. So the games that were not the Celtics, because 4 of them were the Celtics. The ones that were not the Celtics were the Bucks. They covered and won the game outright as 13-point dogs. You got a game here against the Warriors where they covered, lost outright, still covered, and then the Thunder, they pushed. So you got 2-0-1 ATS when catching double digits to anybody not named Boston. All right, funny stuff there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I said all that. I'm not going against the system. I've been betting Miami the exact same way for like 3 years. They're a dog. I'm taking Miami. Let's see here. Probably won't bet that one. So it feels like there's a lot of range of outcomes. I do like Miami first half. I did like when you mentioned that. 2-4 since the All-Star break are the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first half, and it's a large number. 7 points in the first half? What? That's a lot. Miami can keep this within 2 possessions in the first half, and then Cleveland run away with it like they've done. And Cleveland's on the second leg of a back-to-back. Yeah, sure. Let me see what they've done all season on the second leg of a back-to-back in the first half. Let's see if there's something there. Cleveland. Let's filter this. Whenever this wants to refresh, this is in there. There we go. All right, so we got the Cleveland Cavaliers on the first half of a back-to-back this season are 7-4-1. So not really good there. It's gonna have to go off of more recent play. Recently, they haven't been good, but over the course of the season, on the second leg back-to-back, they've been strong. So maybe not get down on the line there. I'll have to see. I have to look into that a little bit more. But as of now, I'm on Miami plus 11.5. Anything on the total 222.5 before we go?
Yeah, I would go over. I just think that Cleveland will have no problem scoring, especially in the interior if Jared Allen is able to play. And Jared Allen and Mobley are able to play. I mean, they just got so Cleveland's just so good, and they got so many ways to beat you as far as lineup. So I don't think they'll have any problem scoring. Miami, like I said, Miami's been pushing the pace a little bit more since getting rid of Jimmy. So I would go over if anything.
Yikes. Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I might look to the over too. I think so. All right. Dallas Mavericks on the road going to play the Milwaukee Bucks. Bucks are laying 10 at home. 222.5 is total. They're laying 10 because the injury report for the Dallas Mavericks, like everybody else that I've said thus far, extremely long. We've got Caleb Martin, who is doubtful for this game. Still recovering from injury. No Anthony Davis, no Dante Exum, no Daniel Gafford, no Jaden Harvey, no Derek Lively, no PJ Washington. So it looks like Spencer Dinwiddie, Max Christie, Klay Thompson, Kessler Edwards, and Dwight Powell. Seems like that's who's going to probably end up playing. On the Bucks side of the ball, you got Bobby Portis, who's still suspended. You got Pete Nance, who's not playing in this game. Forgot he was in the league. And you got Pat Connaughton, who's not playing in this. Yeah. What has Milwaukee done when they let? I mean, if this is the weird get-up spot where Kyrie goes down and the Dallas Mavericks just end up playing like an all-world team for a game, even though they're drastically outmanned and outgunned this game, then I'm going to just tip my hat to them. Other than that, I can't take it. Give me Milwaukee.
Yeah, I like Milwaukee too. Opened up a little bit shorter, so I would just go down in bet size. I think 9.5 is where it opened. I think it opened 8.5 actually. But yeah, I mean, I just like that's just some bad fortune for Dallas. I mean, I don't know how they respond to it, so I don't even want to sit here and tell you that they will respond. I mean, I'm just unsure how they will. But one thing I'm sure of is Milwaukee's been playing really good as of late. They just beat Dallas with Kyrie, Giannis 29, 9, and 9. They were laying 3 on the road. Milwaukee put 132 on them, 132 to 117. Dallas has allowed 254 combined points in the last 2, including those 132 to Milwaukee. I mean, Milwaukee's won 7 of the last 8. They've covered 7 of 10. Probably 5 in a row, depending on what number you got versus Houston, because I saw some threes early on, 3.5. I think it closed 2.5. So depending on what you got there, those numbers could fluctuate. But man, I think Milwaukee's a huge buy team. But going forward, I got some features on them to win the East and to win the whole thing. So I love Milwaukee in the spot. I think they'll be able to shut down the 3-point attack for Dallas. Dallas is ninth in 3-point percentage offense. Milwaukee's seventh on defense, so they defend that well. And if you reverse it, Dallas struggles to get people from prevent people from shooting threes. They're 16th in 3-point defense, which is about average. But when they play against the better teams, they seem to let that number go out a little bit further. And Milwaukee's second in 3-point percentage offense. So I like Milwaukee here, just a little bit smaller at the 10.5.
All right. Yeah, I can't. I can't do anything with Dallas right now. It's disappointing. We saw where they could be. They took a then second place Houston Rockets team and dominated them for majority of the game with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, and then it completely went downhill. Like, didn't even get the rest of the game. Anthony Davis got hurt. Oh man, what misfortune has gone to the Dallas Mavericks, who I think didn't make out with nothing for the trade. They just got completely injured and beaten and destroyed, and it's ugly, and they should probably just tank. All right. Rhythm is throwing an epic March Madness party, and you all are invited. So make sure you go hang out with us over there at the beautiful, 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 beautiful Stadium Swim over there at Circa Las Vegas, March 19th for the first 4 watch party. Free drinks, by the way. You get to hang out with guys from Sports Gambling Podcast, the College Experience, NBA Gambling Podcast. A whole bunch of people are going to be over there. So make sure you go over there and hang out with us over there with Rhythm. Also, they're giving away a $250 March Madness future to one random lucky Rhythm user. So if you can't make the party, you can still have a chance to get the future. Just sign up with your link, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm for a 7-day free trial. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And also make sure you go ahead and get some more details about the party, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party. All right, we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, NBA, NHL, college basketball, whatever sport you like. You can play it in Underdog Fantasy and pick their fantasy projections higher or lower and be able to take home some serious cash there. Make sure you go sign up with promo code NBASGPN. That's NBASGPN over there at UnderdogFantasy.com. You get a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. So make sure you go ahead and sign up. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code NBASGPN. All right, let's keep it going. We got 3 games left. Next up, we're over to the West Coast now, Lonte. We've got the Denver Nuggets at home welcoming the Sacramento Kings. Kings catching 5.5 on the road here. 236.5 is the total injury report for these two teams. Finally, Malik Monk is questionable with the right toe sprain, and we've got Sabonis who is out. For the Nuggets, Kent Carr's questionable. Gorton is questionable with an ankle injury. We've got Jokic, who is questionable with a ankle injury. We've got Peyton Watson, who could return in this game from that knee injury. He's been upgraded to questionable. Julian Strawher is out with a knee injury for a few weeks. And then, yeah, that's about it over there on the Nuggets side of the ball. Lots of injuries, lots of questions. Probably why this line's come down half a point. What do we make some sense of this?
Yeah, my favorite player today, man. I love Denver. I love Denver in this spot. Sacramento, I was kind of buying a little bit of Sacramento. The Sabonis injury does kind of concern me going forward. If they get the right matchup, they could be feisty in the playoffs in the first round. It kind of just depends on how Sabonis and that hamstring works out. But I like Denver. They're returning home from four straight on the road. They were 2-2 straight up in ATS. They've been a little bit inconsistent, like alternating wins and losses, but I think this is a good spot for them. It's not like they've been losing to bad teams. I mean, they played Boston, Detroit, Milwaukee, Indiana, and the Lakers. Those losses aren't really frowned upon if you lose to any of those teams. So they're 16-12-1 ATS at home. Murray's been really good, averaging 24.7 since February. I think the absence of Sabonis, although he's not a defensive presence, I think him on the inside getting those rebounds and just taking up space and being able to double Joker is going to hurt them in the long run. I think Joker has a massive night. Sacramento struggles defending the three. They're 29th in 3-point percentage defense. Now, Denver, their 3-point percentage is high. They just don't take a ton of them. But I think in this spot, they'll have to be able to take a decent amount because of the defense that Sacramento plays. So I love Denver in the spot. I think it's a great spot for them. I think it's a great matchup. I think Joker has a massive night. And I'll lay the 5.5 or 5.5, whatever it is with Denver.
Yeah, it makes sense, but an injury report could really screw all of that. And that's the thing that I'm concerned about here. I got to wait and see a little bit more of what's going on. And I think that's what's really annoying to handicap about a lot of these games, because a lot of these games have major injury news and you just don't really know where this is going. Yeah. I don't know. This Kings team's been pretty solid too, but no Sabonis. I just don't know what they're going to do inside to stop Joker if he plays. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Joker has a pretty big day here. Fills up the stat sheet. They're coming off of a loss. They did play Houston really well. Yeah, I'm considering a Nuggets team total over. I think the lack of rim protection there for we'll see what Valanciunas is able to do, and maybe a look at Valanciunas' rebounds is actually pretty good. He's gonna have to grab a bunch, and so it's probably gonna be him and Joker grabbing a bunch of those rebounds. But Michael Porter Jr. potential for Aaron Gordon playing here too. It's just a lot of size on that Denver side of the ball. I don't know what they're going to be able to do. So yeah, I think I'm with you. I'll take Denver, but I can't do anything here because I don't know what the injury report. The injury report could literally flip this game upside down. Because if you tell me that Joker isn't playing with that ankle injury, oh no. But it looks like Aaron Gordon might not be able to go either. So. We'll see. We'll see there. Really, really annoying. NBA is getting to the very unfun part of the season. All right. Next game up. I kind of like the over. Do you like the over? I'm sorry, in that last game.
Yeah, I do. The Nuggets, they averaged 131 in both games this year versus the Kings. So as long as I don't really care about if Aaron Gordon plays or not. But as long as Joker's good, as long as Joker's in, we're good. I think they'll be able to score. Like I said, that 3-point defense for Sacramento is a big issue, and I think Denver can exploit that. So yeah, I like over.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are on the road going to play the Memphis Grizzlies. OKC's laying 9. 250.5 is the total. All right, OKC. We've got Isaiah Joe, who is questionable with the back injury. We've got Alex Caruso, who's out of this game with an ankle injury. We got Ajay Mitchell, who is still sidelined with that toe injury. For the Grizzlies, Santi Aldama is questionable. We've got John Conchar questionable. We've got Ja Morant, who is questionable. We've got Jaren Jackson Jr., who is out. We've got Scottie Pippen Jr., who is questionable with the toe injury. Oh, good luck making sense of this. I just give me OKC. I don't want anything to do with Memphis right now. I really don't. They haven't been playing where Memphis normally plays when they have a bunch of injuries out. They're 1-8-1 ATS in their last 10 games. I cannot back Memphis in any way, shape, or form right now. However, laying 9 with OKC on the road and how their defense has been, Lonte, since the All-Star break, isn't a good play either, because I can't lay points with teams that don't play defense on the road. And looky here, since the All-Star break, OKC's given up 123 points per game. That is 27th in the NBA since the break. Only 3 teams are worse. One of those few teams that are worse than them are the Memphis Grizzlies, who given up 126 points per game. That's 30th in the NBA. Both of these two teams defensively have not cared. The offenses have been red hot, top 10 for both. It's either you take a team that hasn't covered a single game since the All-Star break, or you take the Thunder, who are somehow 3-4 ATS, but giving up 1,000,000 points. It just seems like the over 250.5 is the way to go.
Yeah, I like that over as well. If Ja's in, I'm gonna be on Memphis. If he's out, I'll just stay away. But if he's in, I think they'll be able to compete. I mean, OKC 4-5-1 ATS last 10. You mentioned the defense. I think that's a little bit of the issue that they're having. And if Ja's in, his ability to get downhill, to spread the floor out, Jaren being out is big for them. Their defensive numbers look good if you just look at them in a spreadsheet, but if you actually like kind of watch some of the stuff that they do, they struggle on driving kicks. They overhelp a ton. Their doubles and their rotations aren't as crisp as they should be. Taylor Jenkins was talking about that in his presser about they got to just want to play defense and they got to want to be connected defensively. And I mean, they've lost their last 3 by a combined 5 points. All the last second shots, like literally all of them to last second shots. So I don't think it's like the record.
There's no reason they should have ever lost that Hawks game. By the way, if you saw that
or the Spurs game or the Knicks game, like they should have won all 3.
Yeah, like it's really wild what's going on.
But
but I guess that means that they at least play a close game. So maybe 9 points, like you're saying, like 9 points is a good
what. Yeah, and if Ja's in, I mean, I just think that those guys will rally behind him, and they'll have to kind of go back to their.
Actually, Lonte, since you say it, breaking news: we have Ja Morant and Santi Aldama who were present at shoot around today. Very good news. It hasn't changed anything towards their status, but they were present in shoot around. So
yeah, well, yeah, if they play, I like Memphis. I mean, just. They've been showing fight. To me, I think that it's more so this strategic way to get out of that 2 seed and then get to the 4-5 where they can play Houston in that first round and kind of get OKC in the second round, because OKC would be getting a pretty good matchup. They're not going to be walking over those teams. And if Memphis was to be able to get that 2 seed, they would be fighting for, playing the Minnesotas. I guess prior to that, it would have been Dallas. But I think that 4-5 spot is setting up perfect. Not saying that they're losing on purpose, but I think they have their eye on that 4-5 matchup versus being a 2 seed or a 3 seed and getting some of those veteran laden teams. So, yeah, as long as Ja is in, I'm on Memphis. I would look at OKC team total over. I mean, they scored 128 points in 7 straight, 130 plus in 6 of those. They scored 125 and 130 in the 2 meetings this year versus Memphis. So, yeah, man, I just think that the number is a little bit inflated. I mean, OKC was 1.5 in Memphis last month on a back-to-back. They still dominated and won, but you go from 1.5 to 9.5. Now, Jaren's not worth 8 points. So I think it's a little bit inflated here. So, yeah, give me the Memphis Grizzlies as long as Ja's playing.
Laying down OKC sounds disgusting, but taking Memphis sounds even worse.
Yeah,
I guess it's too many points. You talked me into taking Memphis. I won't lie. You talked me into taking Memphis, but it's very, very nasty work here. More injury news before we close things out here. I think we got one more game to talk about. Well, kind of got a game. I promise you, I'm going to take 2 seconds to talk about it. Maybe Lonte will take longer, but I'm going to take 2 seconds to talk about the next game. Injury news: Tyler Hero is now added to the sick report for Wednesday. He did not attend shoot around. Davion Mitchell has said that he's going to play. Keontae George is now added to the sick report as well. This is just, I mean, the jokes continue to write themselves here. Another victim for the sick report, Keontae George. He's now listed as questionable. I'll let you know right now. I have noticed something, and I think there's only one instance recently where it was Anthony Edwards, but I can't think of anybody else. But there was a run in time where the sick report was going crazy, everybody. And I was looking, and I'm like, oh, this person is now questionable. And then 9 times out of 10, that person has later been downgraded to out. However, if that person did play in the game and they were downgraded to questionable in the day, oh, their unders went crazy. A lot of them didn't even finish the game because they were actually sick. They tried to force it, and the team just said, you know what, don't play anymore. So I'll give you that. Be wary of Keontae George today if you want to go ahead and back somebody like that, because he's now downgraded to questionable with the illness. And I'm just noticing the trend. I've seen a lot of players downgraded to questionable and then end up playing for a little while and not really being effective. So there's that to add about Keontae George. Jaden Springer's out. I feel like I talked about that in his game, though. All right. Let's close this out, Lonte. We've got the Detroit Pistons on the road going to play the Los Angeles Clippers. Pistons laying 4.5 here. 219.5 is total. Clippers played yesterday. Don't have an injury report for you. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. Kawhi Leonard is out, of course. And so we'll figure out the rest as the day goes on. For the Pistons, we got Beef Stew, who is probable. We've got Tobias Harris, who is out. And, of course, Jaden Ivey was out for a while. Yeah, it doesn't matter. This Clippers team is horrible. This Clippers team sucks. There's no reason for me to take this Clippers team. I have nothing to say other than this team is horrible. The only reason that we had to pick the Clippers yesterday is because we had to pick between the Clippers or the Suns. But there's no reason. Like, the Clippers are on a do not bet list. Like, them and the Suns are on a do not bet list. There's no reason to think about this. I am taking Detroit all the way. Isaiah Stewart, sorry.
Yeah, I would go that way as well if I had to. Detroit's been really good. Second best team over the last 11 games outside of Cleveland, and they shot 55% from the field in 9 of the last 14. They just beat this Clippers team. I think Kawhi was actually playing as well in that game, and they were at home, 106-97. Duran's been incredible as of late, averaging 16 and 14 since mid-January. 8-2 ATS last 10. They're really good on the road. No Powell, no Kawhi. Likely either a somewhat version of Harden, whatever it is. But I just don't see it with the Clippers right now. I would take Detroit and nothing for me. Yeah.
Clippers suck. I would like to let you know this would be my lock if I didn't already make it to play a day of another show. Clippers are horrible. All right, really, really bad Clippers team. This is the Clippers team that I was talking about in the beginning of the season, by the way. This version right here, I don't know who the heck that was that started the year. This is the version of the Clippers that I was talking about in the beginning of the season. I feel so vindicated. All right. Lonte, lock, dog, underdog lineup. Let's close it out. We got 8 games. What are you doing?
So just start off with the lock because I like Denver minus the 5.5 as long as Joker plays. I like them regardless, even if he doesn't, but I think the number will go down. Obviously, will go down if he doesn't. But I like Denver. It's a great spot for him. I just think this is it's just kind of a get right spot for them. They've got familiarity with them. They've won twice already, dominated in one of those games in Denver. So I think it's a good spot. Like Denver, I think they'll dominate in the paint. They're top 2 in field goal percentage and 2-point percentage. Sacramento middle of the pack defensively. Not much of a threat on the inside. So I think Joker feast. I don't like a ton of dogs here, but give me what is this? Give me plus 310 on Memphis.
All right. For my lock, Milwaukee minus 10. Dallas is driving a dead carcass to the arena today. Don't want any parts of that. Very easy play there. For my dog, let me see. Let's go with a. Dang, this is tough. You know what? Portland's been good early in games. When in doubt, fade Boston. Let's go with Portland. First half money line plus 250. They go down in the first half. Boston comes back, wins a close game. That is how I pick that one. All right, underdog. What do we like in the fantasy projection spectrum today for underdog fantasy? By the way, we did hit yesterday, just so everybody knows. Just wanted to mention that one more time. We can put Jokic in there and if it voids, it voids. Are you talking?
My bad. Yeah, I like Joker. PRA. I know it. I think he'll play. I think you have to worry about that.
All right. Even if he doesn't, it's a void. I'm not tripping. All right. What else do we want to do? I don't want anything to do with the Clippers on the second leg of a back-to-back. We got to get some action going in that OKC and Memphis game. It's going to be a lot of points scored in that one. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just hard. Like, it's hard to fade SGA.
I would go J Dub.
You want to go J-Dub?
Yeah.
21.5. I'm not mad at it. J-Dub's been good. So we got J-Dub. We got let's go for the last one. Let me see. Let me throw my guy Evan Mobley in here, man. I've had real good with Evan Mobley, telling people he should be in the conversation for most improved player, but Kate Cunningham happened. And then my Tyler Hero 150 to 1. You know, I gave out Tyler Hero 150 to 1. 150 to 1. It's ridiculous. 150 to 1 Tyler Hero most improved player, and I'm just gonna sit here at 7 to 1 odds. I wonder if somebody will buy that ticket off me. Actually.
That award is ridiculous. They need to take it away.
I might see if somebody will buy the ticket off me. That's not hitting. All right. We've got Nikola Jokic higher, 50.5 points, rebounds, and assists. We've got Jalen Williams, J-Dub higher, 21.5 points. And we got Evan Mobley going higher, 17.5 points here, coming off rest against the Miami Heat. And that's a little spicy, 1.04x. Add that all up in the Underdog, and it's 6.24x. Underdogs get $624 over there at Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. Lonte, anything else for the people before we get up out of here?
That's it, man. Best of luck tonight.
All right. With that, I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just going to do it like this. Make sure you give us a follow. I'm at @reallyreal__. He's at XXLonteXX, at SGPN NBA on X. And make sure you give us a subscribe if you're not already on YouTube, youtube.com/NBA Gambling Podcast. 5-star rating review and NBA SGPN for Underdog. We are out of here.